The church echoed with the final notes of the organ. Sister Solsolito, her heart brimming with the joy of music, smiled at J.K. The organist grinned back, his fingers dancing over the ivory keys. It was a Thursday night recital, a night like any other. But this night, bathed in the soft glow of candlelight, would descend into unspeakable horror.
The air, thick with the smell of damp earth and pine needles, sent a shiver down my spine.
Let's take the shortcut through the woods.
Solsolito, though hesitant, agreed. They walked in silence, their footsteps muffled by the soft earth. The fog grew denser, wrapping around them like a cold, damp shroud. The familiar path seemed to twist and turn, leading them deeper into the heart of the woods. They were lost.
I think we're lost, Jay.
Her voice trembled, her heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the silence of the woods.
Don't worry, sister. We'll find our way back.
But his words did little to calm Solsolito's growing fear. The woods seemed to press in around them, the trees looming like grotesque figures in the fog. The silence was broken only by the rustle of leaves and the distant screech of an owl. Each sound sent a fresh wave of terror coursing through Solsolito's veins. They walked for what seemed like hours, their hope dwindling with each step. The fog showed no signs of lifting, and the path, if they were even still on it, was nowhere to be seen. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip on Solsolito's heart.
We're going to die here.
She whispered, her voice barely audible above the pounding of her own blood in her ears. J.K. didn't answer. He just kept walking, his head down, his shoulders slumped in defeat. The woods came alive around them. The rustling of leaves grew louder, closer. Whispers seemed to slither through the trees, whispering their names. Solsolito clung to J.K.'s arm, her eyes darting from shadow to shadow.
Did you hear that?
She gasped, her voice barely a strangled whisper. J.K. didn't respond. He continued to stumble through the undergrowth, his eyes fixed on the ground. A twig snapped. Solsolito whirled around, her heart leaping into her throat. Two glowing eyes stared back at her from the darkness. A low growl rumbled through the trees. Solsolito screamed, a high-pitched, desperate sound that echoed through the silent woods.
What was that?
He stammered, his voice shaking. Before Solsolito could answer, the creature in the darkness let out another growl, closer this time. It was the stuff of nightmares, the sound sending chills down their spines. Panic seized them. They stumbled through the woods, their fear lending them speed. The growls followed them, closer now, accompanied by the sound of heavy breathing. They were being hunted. Suddenly, J.K. stopped. He turned to Solsolito, his face illuminated by a strange, flickering light.
I love it up here.
He shouted, his voice filled with a strange, manic glee. Solsolito stared at him in horror. What was he talking about? And then it happened. J.K. burst into flames. A pillar of fire erupted from his body, consuming him in an instant. Solsolito screamed, a primal shriek of terror and disbelief. The smell of burning flesh filled the air, acrid and suffocating. She watched in numb horror as J.K.'s body was consumed by the flames, his scream swallowed by the roar of the inferno. Then, as quickly as it began, it was over. The fire vanished, leaving behind only a pile of ash and the lingering stench of burnt flesh. Solsolito stood there, frozen in terror, the echo of J.K.'s final words ringing in her ears.
Solsolito stumbled through the woods, her mind teetering on the brink of madness. The image of J.K. engulfed in flames, his manic laughter echoing in her ears, was seared into her brain. She babbled incoherently, her words a jumbled mix of prayers and gibberish. She spoke of blue-horned aliens and the Minotaur, her words tumbling over each other in a torrent of madness. She had lost all sense of time and place, her only reality the terror that clawed at her sanity. She wandered aimlessly, her habit torn, her face streaked with dirt and tears. The woods seemed to stretch on forever, a labyrinth of shadows and whispers. She was lost, alone, and utterly broken.
Days later, she was found by a group of hikers, her mind shattered, her spirit broken. She was taken to a hospital where she remained, lost in the labyrinth of her own madness, haunted by the memory of that horrific night. The story of J.K.'s death spread through the town like wildfire. Whispers followed Solsolito's incoherent ramblings. The woods, once a place of peace and tranquility, became a place of fear and dread. Legends sprung up around J.K.'s death. Some said he had stumbled upon a satanic ritual, the flames a punishment for witnessing the unholy rites. Others claimed he had been struck down by God, his arrogance punished with a fiery demise. But the most persistent rumor was that J.K.'s soul was trapped in the woods, doomed to wander for eternity. They said that if you went into the woods at night, you might hear his manic laughter echoing through the trees, and if you were unlucky enough to cross his path, you might suffer the same fiery fate. The legend of J.K. became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of their peaceful town. Parents warned their children to stay away from the woods, lest they become another victim of the organist's curse. Years passed. The story of J.K.'s death faded into legend, a chilling tale whispered around campfires. The woods remained a place of unease, but life went on. Then, a group of paranormal investigators arrived in town. Led by the enigmatic Dr. Emily Carter, they were drawn by the legend of J.K., eager to uncover the truth behind the organist's fiery demise. Dr. Carter was a woman of science, skeptical of the supernatural. But there was something about the story of J.K. that intrigued her, a mystery that begged to be solved. She was determined to separate fact from fiction, to understand what truly happened on that fateful night.
Armed with EMF readers, thermal cameras, and audio recorders, Dr. Carter and her team ventured into the woods, hoping to capture evidence of J.K.'s lingering presence. They were determined to unravel the mystery, to hear the echoes of the past whispering through the trees.
Days turned into weeks as Dr. Carter and her team scoured the woods. They interviewed locals, poring over old newspaper clippings and hospital records. They mapped out the area, searching for any clue that could shed light on J.K.'s final moments. The woods were unyielding, their secrets closely guarded.
The team encountered strange electromagnetic fluctuations, unexplained temperature drops, and disembodied whispers that sent chills down their spines. But concrete evidence remained elusive.
Dr. Carter, however, was not deterred. She was convinced that something extraordinary had happened to J.K., something beyond the realm of conventional explanation. She spent countless hours listening to audio recordings, analyzing thermal images, and researching obscure phenomena.
She was particularly drawn to Sol Solito's final words before her death. The nun, in her final moments of lucidity, had uttered a phrase that sent shivers down Dr. Carter's spine. He found the door. He said he loved it up there. What did it mean? What door had J.K. found?
Dr. Carter had a theory, a radical and unsettling possibility. She believed that J.K. had stumbled upon a dimensional rift, a portal to another realm. His final words, she theorized, were not those of a madman, but of a man who had caught a glimpse of something beyond human comprehension.
To test her theory, Dr. Carter devised a daring experiment. Using advanced audio equipment, she planned to recreate the acoustic conditions of the night J.K. disappeared. She believed that by replicating the sounds, the frequencies, of that fateful night, she could potentially reopen the dimensional rift.
It was a risky plan, fraught with danger, but Dr. Carter was determined to uncover the truth, even if it meant confronting the unknown. She gathered her team, their faces a mixture of excitement and apprehension, and prepared to step into the realm of the impossible. The air crackled with anticipation as they activated the equipment. The woods fell silent, the usual night sounds eerily absent. Then through the speakers came the sound of music, the haunting melody of the hymn J.K. had played on his final night. The music swirled through the trees, its notes vibrating with an unnatural intensity. The temperature dropped, a sudden chill that cut to the bone. The EMF readers spiked, their needles dancing wildly. And then, from the depths of the woods, a voice.
It was J.K.'s voice, distorted but unmistakable. It echoed through the trees, filled with the same manic glee that Sol Solito had described.
I love it up here.
His voice reverberating through the silence. I love it up here.
Dr. Carter and her team stared in awe and terror as the voice washed over them. The air shimmered as if reality itself was warping and bending around them. A cold wind whipped through the trees, carrying with it the scent of ozone and something ancient and alien. For a moment they stood on the precipice of the unknown, a glimpse into a realm beyond human comprehension. Then, as quickly as it began, it was over. The voice faded, the air stilled, and the woods returned to their unsettling silence. Dr. Carter and her team returned to their lab, forever changed by their experience. They had heard J.K.'s voice, felt the touch of the unknown, but they were no closer to understanding what truly happened on that fateful night. The legend of J.K. lived on, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows.
The woods remained a place of unease, their secrets closely guarded. And somewhere, beyond the veil of reality, perhaps J.K. was still laughing, trapped in a realm beyond human comprehension.
The experience left Dr. Carter with more questions than answers. What had J.K. stumbled upon in those woods? What door had he found? And what did his final words truly mean? These were questions that would haunt her for years to come, a chilling reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay beyond the realm of the known. The mystery of J.K.'s disappearance remained unsolved, a chilling testament to the enduring power of the unknown. The woods stood silent, their secrets safe. And somewhere in the space between dimensions, perhaps JK was still laughing, his voice echoing through the void.